Sunday afternoon with us here for the DC Blogger April Meetup. Make sure you look to your neighbor, left and right, and get to know each other. Y'all know where that's from. But no, we are so glad that you are here today to, of course, see our wonderful blogger, Jenee Naylor. She came all the way from Virginia Beach to be with us today. And yes, it'll be a Q&A session, so don't be afraid to ask any questions. You have about 45 minutes to get your most burning desire for content creation questions out. And who better to get it from than HighLowLuxxe, right? We are so excited. So we are thankful for Tanger Outlets, who has brought us back here for our second year. If you were with us last year, you know we were at the other end. Now we are here in this beautiful space. And we're very happy for this wonderful space. So my name again is Yana. I go by Yana B on Instagram, Yana B Style. And I blog about fashion, lifestyle, motherhood. Sometimes I have a teen and a tot, one in pre-K and one in college. And so all around, lots of stuff going on all the time. I know many friends here in the audience, so glad to see all of you. And I've been coming to DC Blogger events probably since like 2018, 2019, so always happy to come and volunteer like I am doing today. This is a wonderful networking event. It's growing, ever growing, and it's a wonderful place to get to meet your fellow bloggers, influencers, and creators. So, let's see. I am going to now introduce Carrie, who is here from Tanger Outlets. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Edgerton. I'm the marketing director for Tanger, and we are honored and excited to have you guys back again. Second year, and like last year, we've got lots of goodies in those goodie bags for you guys. So lots of coupons for our stores. I'd like to thank Kate Spade. They did the beautiful bags with the stars. Love those. And a number of other stores like Calvin Klein, Clark's, and Yankee Candle, and Theory, St. John did a bunch of other things too. So please shop as well while you're here. And in addition to that, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Fogo de Chao having opened down at the harbor, but you all have a coupon for there as well. So, go have brunch after this. One more thing. So I talked about this last year. How many of you are already members of Tanger Club? Familiar with Tanger Club? Yes. So if you are a Tanger shopper, you need to join Tanger Club because you can take pictures of your receipts and earn all kinds of rewards throughout the year. You get special discounts and special offers at a lot of our stores right now. If you spend $100 in the month of April, you will get a $10 gift card for Crocs. So like big things like that every year. It's a lot, I mean every month. It's a lot of spend and get offers. So you do have a little QR code on some of your coupons that give you information about joining the membership. So please do that if you have time today. Now last year I took a big picture, everyone, because I have to send this to my corporate office so they'll let us host this again. So you guys look real happy and let me take a big group picture. All right, everyone smile. Woo! Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Now we have so many friends who are sponsors here for DC Bloggers. I want to give them a shout out. So first we have Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you want to? That's Ibrahim. He is here from IOB Photo Booth, and he did this beautiful flower wall. So these flower walls, you can follow them on I always mess up. IOB Photo Booth and IOB Flower Walls. Next we have Teresa. Teresa is back there. She's an amazing sketch artist. We love Teresa. She will need a picture of you and she will sketch you up, okay? And it's always just a wonderful takeaway. She will also do private events, and she will do your own sketch if you want to schedule her separately, and you can find her on Instagram at Teresa Kelly's Art. We also have a great team here capturing our live event. We have Kimberly and Santi here from in InLens Photography and Videography, and they're on IG at InLens Photography, as well as Ashley Jean. She is walking around, and she has Blanche Creative Studio that's right down here in Old Town. You can follow her on Ashley Creative. She does branding and lifestyle sessions as well, so that's a good thing for this community. We also have Ernie, who always joins us as our wonderful videographer. That is Ernie back there, and you can find him at Out of Time Productions on Instagram. Also, at the end of the event, you will hear some closing remarks from our DC Blogger Chapter Officer, Carly. Many of you know her. She hosts every single event, always does a wonderful job. And we will also take a group photo at the end, and if you would like to, you can form a line to take pictures with Jenee at the end. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, I will introduce Miss Jenee Naylor. So it's a pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Of course, she's here all the way from Virginia Beach with her team, her wonderful photographer and husband Josh, as many of you know. And she has grown an amazing following and community on HighLowLuxxe. On YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everybody knows her. And everything she does is amazing and fabulous. She just went all over the world to almost every fashion week. We were just following along. Just got published in Ebony this week. Nobody's more better to come here and do a Q&A for us content creators, right? So we are just happy to have her here. Her audience always brings a sold-out crowd, as it is today. And we are so happy to have you here, Jenee. So you want to come on up?
Thank you. Lovely introduction. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Hi, Queen.
Really quick before we start, I'm filming this also for my YouTube membership, so we'll have a mic. So if you have a question, we're going to just pass the mic around, just FYI. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Every time I come, I like to do a kind of Q&A style, just so everyone gets what they need. I know we're all in different places in our journey of content creation. We all have different questions, focus on different things. So no question is too big or too small. I just want to make sure I'm a resource today. So we'll get started. You guys, I don't need to do an introduction, right? Okay, we know. We're going to start right here in the front. This is Maya, everybody. You guys are famous now.
Hi, Sean with Kinda Obsessed from Atlanta, Georgia. My question is, did your audience find you, or did you kind of make a target audience? Like, did you target them?
I always tell people my audience are women like me, basically. So I just shared, in every phase of my career, I just share where I'm at.
Okay.
There's never, like, I love strategy, but there's never been like a huge strategy of like, this is the type of woman I want to attract, and this is the type of woman I want to be, and the type of content I want to create. It's just what I naturally love and where I was at in life, right? So when I started, I worked at Target. Most of my closet was red and khaki when I went out on the weekend. I shopped at Zara and, Target, Aldo. Most of my shoes and bags were from, so that's what I shared. I never was like, I want to be a luxury blogger. I want to be I got my first promotion, then I got a bonus at work, I bought a nice bag, and I shared that. And it's just progressed from there. Then we moved and we bought a house, so then I started sharing lifestyle content, because that's just the phase of life I was in. So people have found me at every different phase of life. I always share fashion, because that's just my first love. But every phase that I'm in, if I'm more into beauty right now, that's what I share, and people just find me that way. And I feel like that's the most sustainable way to create content. People will stay for the journey if you are engaging enough and you share on it. Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone? Oh, we're done? Okay. If you could just pass, do you have a mic? Oh, yeah. Just pass them. I know it doesn't sound like a mic, but it's for the camera. So.
I'm Joyce Delaney on Instagram. Social media is @the Joyce Delaney. And I wanted to ask you, I've been following your journey from day one. And to see your evolution is amazing. So what is it that you can tell yourself from the very beginning that will encourage you during those times when you just don't feel like doing it?
That's a great question. Kind of something I realized along the way, and I feel like this keeps most people from doing what they want to do, is like the negative comments and the haters and the, just cruel people that are on the internet. But it's so easy, I know, to listen to negativity, but there's so much more good than bad. And this kind of stuff always helps me more, because obviously I get to put faces to names and like hear it from your mouth that I'm helpful and impactful and all the ways that, my content makes a difference. But that should be your focus. There are people out there that need to hear what you have to say, want to see you succeed, like they want to support you, and you're helping their lives. Keep that at the forefront of everything you do. Anytime I want to try something new, create some type of new content, what is my why? Why do I want to do this? I always come from a place of I want to provide value. I want to be helpful. I want to share knowledge. That's way more important than just a sad person that's probably in their mama basement that wants to right? Keep that top of mind. I know it's so easy. You see a negative comment and you just they used to crush my soul. And now all I think about is, what a sad person. When I see a comment, I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because no sane person is doing that, right? So that is how I think now, and it took me so long. So I would encourage you all to have that thought process, and please don't let that deter you. I think to myself, am I gonna let this stranger keep me from my dreams? I don't know this man. I don't know this woman. Whoever that is. That cannot be your reason. People on the internet are mean. Is that more important than what your life could be if you give it a shot?
One more
That's
question.
not,
What are you wearing today?
I'm wearing a suit by Rotate. It's a Scandinavian brand, pretty sure. Who's got a question? We'll pass it around. Oh, just pass it back. Yeah, we'll just try to pass it to each other. Help each other out. Thank you.
Hi, Jenee. I'm Jasmine, at Jasmine K. Ward on Instagram. I'm more so of a lifestyle influencer. So I told you I love your home brand. As soon as you promoted the homepage, I started following that instantly. But I find myself in the beginning of my journey struggling with wanting to share my life. I go back and forth about, oh my gosh, do I want to be on this public platform? Do I want everybody looking at me? So how did you get out of your own way when it comes to sharing, and do you decide what you're going to share versus what's off limits in terms of your marriage and things like that? How did you figure out what am I going to share? What am I going to keep to myself?
Because there are people, one, I'll say it's a journey of finding out what you're comfortable with. There are things that I've shared and then I get questions or responses about it, oh, I don't like that. I don't like how that feels, so we won't share that anymore. Or, so then it's a learning. But also you can make it very clear what you're comfortable with by seeing people. I've made the decision, I don't want my life to be the content. But that's just not my goal, right? My goal is not to be, I think about it like reality TV. My goal was never to be famous or for people to just know me and know my life, and that's why you watch me. It gets great, responses, and people eat that stuff up, but I've never wanted that for myself. I want to share my expertise, what I love, what I learn. I love fashion, I always have. That's what I went to school for. I want to share that. And then I like beauty. I like learning about different, makeup techniques and skincare. So I share that as a friend would share what they like, right? I'm saving you some time, so here's what's been working, here's what's not working. I want to share tips and tricks from a standpoint of I'm being helpful and I'm a resource. That doesn't mean I have to share my life. I love vlogging. I love the storytelling aspect of it, but I share places and things. I don't share me. But that's come from trial and error, right? During lockdown, I didn't have anywhere to go, obviously, so I was, vlogging in my house and, just trying to make content. Somebody was like, why is your kitchen so dirty? No more clothes. And it wasn't that's not, the part of the vlog was let's clean up. So it was obvious that something was going to be dirty. But I was just that, I don't like how that feels. I let you in my space because, you know, people seem interested, but you know what? Never mind. Never mind. I'll show you some shoes. So it's a learning too. Like I'll share certain little things, and if it makes me uncomfortable, then I really back in. You have the choice to do that. So I think keeping that in mind. But so now I'm very clear. If it's not, you know, a teachable thing, a helpful thing, again, I share places. So if I'm going somewhere, I want to show you Paris during Fashion Week. I want to show you Miami during Art Basel. I'm never just like, we're sitting up in the hotel room and I'm just showing you, you know, just every little thing that I do as far as it has to do with me.
Right.
It's always a thing, a place, an event, something like that. So I think take your time to get clear on what you're comfortable with, but also know it's going to change, and that's okay. You can, you know, right now I don't have any house content on my YouTube channel. I made the decision to take a lot of that down based on how my life is progressing now. I got a weird email or somebody telling me they know the street I live on. Never mind. And that doesn't mean you can't do that, but based on just how it made me feel, I don't like it. And I'm not in that phase anymore. So some people are like, oh, what happened to the house content? The house is done. You know, that's not my content. I'm not going to redo my living room because you want to see house content. I share the journey. We're done now. The rooms are done. This is how we're just living. So be okay with change, and then, you know, just think about what you want it to look like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, pass it that way. Yeah. We'll do 1 and 2.
I had a
Okay, you're skipping now, but okay. We'll do you next.
I can pass it down if you want me to.
Okay, what's the question?
So the question is, how do you find your niche? How do you find your niche when you feel like you have so many things to share? However, you want to narrow it down and you want to be able to share your journey, but you also want to share the things that are going on outside of your life.
I think you have to start somewhere. So people need to be able to identify and figure out if they want to be a part of it, right? You as a person, as a content creator. And you got to play the game a little bit too. That's the whole point of niches. Like, you don't have to stay there, but you got to start somewhere to attract people, for people to identify and say like, oh, I like this thing she's doing. They go to your page. There's more of that thing. I want to come along. And then once you kind of you got some traction, you can kind of, you know, add things in, right? Pivot if you want to. But you got to start somewhere. So I say have a niche, and it can be 2 or 3 things, but have something that's identifiable so I can figure out if this is a place I want to be. Does that make sense? But you can always add on. Again, you can always take away. But to grow, you need to start with something. For people who are just like, she's all over the place. No, thank you. I came here for makeup, then I went to your page, and it's, you know, you cleaning your house. I don't want to see that. So, yes.
Hi, Imani.
Hey, girl.
How you doing? So I know you recently talked about getting back on the blog, and
Yes.
I'm hardcore in the blog, but I made like a life decision recently to move, which is like my whole thing.
Yes.
But I'm struggling to decide what is a blog post and what is a video, if I need to use the video to promote the blog post.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give away the whole blog post
Yeah.
in video. So how do I decide what to say versus what not to say, and what to put in a newsletter? You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. I always think about the platforms are different people. There's some people that will watch all the things and read all the things and go to all the places. But for the most part, these are all separate things. So what is going to excite me? That's how I'm looking at my blog, right? Like, what excites me to write about? There's some things where people will be like, oh, can you do closet essentials again? I'm not making another closet essentials YouTube video. I have so many, I don't have any new ideas, but I've never written a blog post. So I can put that on the blog, you know, maybe cut it up a little bit, add some links there, and then put the YouTube video at the end, or the 3 that I've already made, and now that's a blog post. So I think it's about what you're passionate about in the capacity of whatever that platform is. That's what it could be, because you can put the same information on both, and it can feel different. But also, is it going to excite you to write about it, or is it going to excite you more to make a video about it? Or is it going to excite you to do both? And see what gets more traction, because I feel like also doing the thing is going to help you learn and figure it out too. You don't have to have the answer right away, but I would say do both, because they're also different places. Some people are never going to look at your blog, so still give them the video and make the AdSense. So do both. I would start with both until you say like, okay, that wasn't as much fun writing that. I would rather write blog posts about X, Y, and Z. Oh, sorry, she was next. And then we'll
Hi, I'm Jennifer, Red Liquor Passport. So I recently shared a post about maximizing PTO, and I got a lot of DMs asking because of one specific benefit one of my employers offers. I got a lot of questions about who do I work for. I'm not comfortable sharing it, right? But I struggled with how to respond. So how do you respond to those really personal questions?
honestly, I say I'm always just coming from a place of honesty. If it's a DM especially, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable sharing that, but how can I help you? But also, how can you still be of service?
Right.
So, what are you looking for? What direction do you need help with? Is there a specific question that you have? What's the point of me sharing this? If they just want a job, why do they need to know exactly where you work? Or is it that, it's a Fortune 500 company? Like, is there something specific you think will guide you to an answer that maybe I can help you with instead? But I always tell people, even in comments, anything, like, please don't say X, Y, and Z. I don't feel comfortable with that. Or, because that also is setting the tone for moving forward. Especially on Instagram, I feel like that's such a easy place to kind of curate. Like, this is my happy place. This is my house. If you come over here and you make me uncomfortable, I need to let you know how we don't roll like that over here. Like, oh, you must be new. I'm so sorry. We don't roll like that. Like TikTok is a wild, wild west. YouTube a little bit too. But especially on Instagram, I'll leave it there because if another new person comes, I need you to know we don't roll like that. Oh, I don't like that. I'm so sorry. I didn't ask. We don't do. We keep it cute. If you don't like something, you just go right through like that. So I would just be honest. Oh, unfortunately, I don't share that kind of information, but I'm happy to help. Did you have a specific question, something you're struggling with? At your current role, are you looking for a job? I can point you in the LinkedIn direction. Like,
okay.
How can I help?
Thank you. Because I try to respond to every comment and DM, but I was like, ooh.
And then if it's a lot, then that's where you put up a story or put up a post. Hey, I shared X, Y, and Z. I got a lot of questions about where I work. For my own privacy and safety, I would like to not share that, but I'm, here to help in any capacity. If you have a question about this, DM me. Make it a blog post. Still share the information, but make it plain. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Barnett, DC Fashion School. I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
First of all, I'm the only guy probably in here. So for me, who's kind of introverted as well, you won't see that in my stories because I just flash out, but how do you kind of build a community? You know what I mean? So like for me, I started with a whole bunch of guys, none of them blog anymore, none of them have an Instagram, so I feel like I'm the only person, so sometimes it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And so like even coming here sometimes, it's hard because I'm the only guy and I don't always have the same kind of interest. I'm not really going to shop at St. John. I might share it for some other purposes, but it's kind of hard. So I wonder, how do you approach building a community? And the second is, if you're doing it full time, how do you make it seem not like work?
Good questions. Okay, building a community, and I feel like this is especially, you have to be more thoughtful when you also don't share your whole life. And I feel like it's about keeping little things that are very engaging, like going live. And I do that on every platform. How do you make people feel like they know you without sharing, again, everything? I feel like it's those that I try to give people what they want. So if you tell me you love when I go live, then let me make sure I do that. I have a YouTube community where I also go live, and then we have like the Good Girlfriends chat that I do with my friend Akita back there. But there's little things that I always know I need to go back to because that's what keeps this so tight. And I feel like you need to figure out if that's meetup, this is the most important part, and it doesn't have to be a huge amount of people, but people feeling like they have access to you and they know you and that you're approachable. I try to answer every DM as much as I can. Like, I'll go through and try, especially if it's a question, but just certain things where people feel like, I feel like they have access to me without that meaning you need to know my whole life or being on my business. So I feel like, do you go live on Instagram?
No.
I know you don't.
I'm be too shy to do it.
But it's such a small thing that makes such a big difference. Like, anytime I feel like I'm not in the right headspace or I'm not motivated, or I go live. Because every time, it's like when I do this, it fills me up. When I get off, Josh will be like, that was 3 hours. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I'm going gonna be on for an hour. I'm just gonna like talk real quick. And then I'm just like but every time I do it, I'm just like, I love this job. That was great. Start small, get on for 10 minutes, announce it, put it places to tell people you're gonna do it. I feel like that is such a undervalued resource of building community and getting people together. Sorry, what was the second question?
How do you make it?
Oh, not look like one. Of course you love it. I know that. I know you. I know that. But you have to show the love all the time when you're not being paid. You have to be very clear that you're not doing things for paychecks. Like, if you look at my Instagram, I've probably had, 5 paid posts in March, but I've probably posted 30 times. It never looks like work, but that's also because I make sure, again, it's the value. I'm gonna give you something purposeful every day is my goal, and that's still my job. Like, I could not work all week because I don't have anything paid to do, but it's still my job to be thoughtful with, like, we still need to go shoot, I still need to make some reels, because the point is to help and serve and give you entertainment, whatever you take from it, but it's my job to keep it going. So then when I have a little Target ad, it's just an addition. It's not a main focus of like, oh, you haven't been here all week and you just hit us with that. Okay. It's like, this is like the 20th outfit I've seen, and like, oh, thank you, because I haven't been to Target in a while, and I didn't see X, Y, and Z. So I feel like being consistent with like, this is what I love and I'm sharing. So then I feel like every time I post an ad, it doesn't feel like an ad, because it's still something helpful. I also don't take everything. But that was a strategic, never acting out of desperation, making sure all the partners make sense. So when you see something, most of the time it should be value added. It should be you were interested in it, it's something I love, or it's something new. That's the 3 things I always try to keep in mind. It's something I was already talking about, right? And that's the goal of every campaign is like, hopefully I use something and I can just share it. Or it's a brand new, so obviously I don't love it yet, but it's new to me and I want to share it because I think you'd be interested in it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But it's a very thoughtful process, but I treat it like my job all the time, not just when I'm getting paid. That's the main goal. Okay, we'll go to the back and then over.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jen. My handle's at Making Up for Lost Time. Oh, thanks. Word nerd. I have had moments, I'm an over 50 creator, and I have had moments looking around the room where I realize that one of these things does not look like the others, when everyone else is a lot younger than I am. Have you had those moments as a creator where you have felt a little either imposter syndrome or you're in a room where you're not quite like everyone else?
All the time. Yeah. I was just talking to somebody, I was talking to you about imposter, if I'm ever scared or like, what do I do? I'm scared every time, every day, everything I do. I just do it anyway. My dreams matter more. That's what I think to myself. I'm gonna be scared anyway, or uncomfortable, or unless I'm just sitting in my house watching TV. So I might as well just do it anyway. And especially when I started, I feel like what made me so driven was that I was at the age I was, where I thought to myself, at that time on Instagram, it's like, these are teenagers doing this, and I'm about to quit my big girl job and take pictures on Instagram. I don't have time to waste, right? I have grown bills. I have a whole life that I'm not trying to make go backwards. So anything I'm putting my effort and time into, I need it to work out. So let me make sure I do all my research. Let me make sure I have a good plan. Let me make sure I do my SEO research and I have a strategy for every time I post a YouTube video. I need people to watch it because I need everything to build on top of each other, not just go out into, the wild and nothing happens with it. So I feel like that should make you more strategic with everything that you do and more purposeful, right? Because there's no time to waste. I need it to work now, today, or I needed to be like compiling and building on things to get me closer to my goals. But I'm scared all the time.
Yeah.
But I always have thought about the end game. And I don't even know what that exactly is, but I know I want to get there. And I want to see what's possible, and I'm not going to get any closer if I don't take the first steps.
And I relate to you because I just quit my big girl corporate job a week ago. Yes. Yes. Thanks for that. So I know 100%, and especially because at my age, I was just talking about this. I'm almost 52, and you get a lot of questions around, oh, girl, you're like 10 years from retirement. The hell are you doing blowing up your life? And how did you deal with that? Like when you pulled the trigger and you finally, what was the thing that finally made you jump? I know what it was for me, but what was it for you?
Well, I was doing this for a year, and my job, and I love my job. If you don't know, I used to work at Target. I was a store director, store manager at the Merrifield store, Mosaic, over, I don't know where we are, but over there. And I loved it, and I was like up for a promotion, so it was very hard. It was just a hard, grueling, I talked to somebody who used to work at Target. Yes, it's a hard job. I got a new boss who didn't like, it was just so many things that were compiling that were just like making my life so much more difficult. And I feel like that was a sign, because I always would tell people, I'm gonna be the CEO of Target. I love this job, I'm good at it, like I'm all the way up, right? I see the end game, like I'm going to the top. And then it just got harder and harder while I was trying to do this thing. And then I started, getting a few campaigns and making some money, and I just couldn't, it got to a point where I couldn't do both. Like I would wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I was so anxious and stressed from work, I would cry every day, because I just wanted to be really good at that, but I was also trying to do this other thing and be really good at it. So it just came to a point where I couldn't do both. Like I literally called Josh and I was like, I think I'm gonna quit. Like, what do you think? And I was like, because my boss was coming that day, and I was like, I don't think I can do it another day. Like not do my job, but like fake the funk another day. And I was like, I need to wait till my bonus, but I think I'm gonna tell him today. Like I think I need to just say the words so we both don't have to play this game, because I don't have anything to give when I'm trying to give it to this other thing. So that's how I knew. But it was terrifying. I never knew anyone that was an entrepreneur. I never grew up knowing anyone, and even at that time, I didn't know anyone that worked for themselves. The idea of not having a steady paycheck was just not in my realm of reality. And even up until like because that was like a 2-month span, I was still working after I kind of put in my notice. And I was like, maybe I'll get like a part-time job. In my mind, maybe I'll just go work at the mall and get just $500 a week. In my mind, how am I gonna survive with nobody giving me a paycheck? And I was like, Jenee, this is it. Like, just try it and give it your all. Like, just, if you only do it for the summer. In my mind, it was just for the summer. From May to August, let's just see. I had saved up some money, I got my bonus, and I was like, if you have to start using this money, because I already was getting a few checks, working with brands. So I was like, if you start dipping into this money, that'll be your sign. But still wait until you get to the end of summer. This is enough to pay all your, more than enough money to pay your bills. But if you start digging into that money, then that's a sign maybe you need to try something else. Maybe you aren't quite ready yet. We'll see. That summer was great. And literally at the end of the summer, I was like, what was I? But I also needed less to live on than I thought. So that, I feel like that's another thing. I didn't want my lifestyle to go backwards, but I also didn't need to be like shopping every weekend and just, oh, you want to go to Miami? Sure. Like, we got to make some sacrifices. So I also had to tell myself that. And once I figured out like, oh, I actually don't need that to live on, because that number I had in my brain included anytime somebody wants to go to happy hour, anytime someone wants to go on a trip, anytime I want to go shopping. I don't need that number. I need this number. Well, that was easy. Not easy, but I could make it work. So I was real with myself and said, like, just try. Just try. But it was the scariest thing I ever did. So,
I feel that in my spirit.
that's just what it is.
Thanks.
We'll do here and then go here. We'll stay over here.
Hello, I am Bougie Cousin on Instagram, and
And TikTok.
I went viral by accident, and my content is like everything under $100. And I'm scared to kind of pivot into things over that. I did post one thing that was $300, but I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my audience. Do you think it's okay to kind of?
Yes. What was the response?
The response was great on the item that was $300, but I thought everyone wanted that luxury under $100 because that's kind of what went viral. And
Here's the thing, you have to be okay with changing. Again, you can make your platform whatever you want to make it. Now, I know how it feels when people, find you based on one thing and then you want to do something else, but that's just a part of life. Like, people that don't want you to change and grow, you need to do some self-reflection. Because one, you don't owe anybody anything. And there's other people who want that content or who want the new thing that you want to try. So I would say do it, because it's what you make it. Your platform, you're in charge. So you tell us what it's going to be. It can start being under $500, or it could just start being cool gift ideas. And then you throw in, a great price point to be helpful. You can keep it so there's something for everyone, but do you want to do that for the next 5 years?
last question, how do you deal with watching a number? So I went viral on TikTok, so you get that video and it has a million views, and you're like, the next one only has 5,000 views. What's going on? What happened?
Every time I get too focused on numbers, I go back to why am I doing this in my community?
Yes.
And I usually will go live. I'm telling you, that's my secret sauce for everything. Because then I can hear you, right? And somebody will be like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And then I'll try to like listen to the comments. What do people want to see from me? The answers are all right there. Then I start doing that content. And every time I do this, the numbers just go crazy because people see the content they ask for, right? Then they're sharing it and they're putting it in their stories and they're shouting me out and they're sending it to a friend. And like you can see when people like send it to somebody, but I'll be tagged a million times in a thing that someone asked me to do. But it's like, oh, what do people want to see? What's helpful? What are people asking for? Because when you are focused on the numbers, you're trying to do your research. You're like, what's trending? What's going viral? What can I do? Well, let me just try this thing that nobody asked for, but somebody else did it anyway. So I always go back to my community. We're going to go to the back, and then we'll come back around.
Hello, my name is Jenee. I'm actually one half of Plus Ability, my co-host. We do a plus size fashion podcast. So piggybacking off of the gentleman's question about community, not so much in the terms of those of us who follow you, but your creator community. One of our favorite things is watching you and the girls storm the streets of Fashion Week. So can you talk to us about that, about building your creator community?
Yes, it's so important. This is a lonely job. That was probably the thing I struggled with the most when I started this because I was used to having a leadership team underneath me that was like 10 people, and then I had a store team of 300 team members that was always in and out of my office, and I could always go on the floor. It was just, that was my favorite part of my job. And then when I started this full time, Josh still had his job, so I was just alone all day. Like he would come home and be like, "What's going on out there? Let me tell you everything I did today. Who'd you talk to? Like just talk to me." So having people that you can FaceTime, and even people that you can like have a call with, and it's about work. So it almost feels like like we can work together, or like, what are you struggling with? What are you struggling with? The biggest thing people need to do is network sideways. I feel like that's where people get caught up and frustrated, like you can't, find your tribe or connect with people because you're trying to network up. And when people do that, which it can work out, but it also, people are so cautious. And I'm speaking from me, right? Like if someone DMs me and they're asking for my help, and we have no rapport, right? Because I'm a very helpful person. But if we have no rapport, right, I'm like, what makes you think I have time to carve out for a stranger? As opposed to you're networking sideways and you're helping me and I'm helping you. All of my friends, colleagues that you see me with, I met them when I had 20,000 followers and they had 20,000 followers, right? And it was like, hey, I saw you work with that brand. Did they pay, or how much was the, and we're helping each other, and then, you grow and grow and grow. And now you have that person that kind of can relate to you, and I call them my coworkers. Those are people that do what I do, and we can help each other, answer each other's questions. So I feel like finding those people and bringing something to the table. Hey, I saw you doing X, Y, and Z. I'm working on that too. I have, a few things I researched. I'd love to get coffee. And how is this helping me? Even if it's someone you're networking sideways with, you should still be providing some type of value to get value in return. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie Thompson at HighLowLuxxe City. And my question is about scheduling your time and your content. I'm a government contractor, so my schedule is always changing, and the one thing that I always have to ask is, how are people working on their time management? And just because creativity just takes so much energy out of it. It does. So there's a mental strain that comes along with government contracting. So figuring out how to schedule do you schedule your days? Do you just batch the content? I would just love to know what your strategy is. Because I did watch a YouTube video.
I'm probably going to say the same thing, but here it goes.
Yeah, New York Fashion Week and how you scheduled your outfits.
Yeah.
You put them in an Excel.
I schedule and plan everything. Right. But I will go back to when I worked at Target, because that's obviously what most of you can relate to. One, I will say, you just got to want it bad enough. That's it. Most of it. But I'll tell you what I did. But I wanted, I don't know if it's a Sagittarius thing, but when I get focused on something, I'm focus. Like I'm a competitive, like when I want to do something, like I want to give it my all to see where it can go. But when I worked at Target, I worked 60 hours a week. I was off on Wednesdays and every other weekend. And I did everything on that Wednesday. But I had a very specific schedule. Every Wednesday, when I used to take those mirror pictures, I would take 7 in one day. So on Tuesdays, before I went to work, I used to close on Tuesday. So in the morning, before I went to work, I would plan out all those outfits that I was gonna shoot on Wednesday. Once I finished shooting on Wednesday, I would edit my pictures so they would all be ready. And then I would also write any blog posts. And that's when I started actually, like I built my first blog. So I would do that every Wednesday, afternoon, evening, and I would also work on it every day when I got off work until the wee hours of the night. And then I started a YouTube channel. So then I added filming on that Wednesday. And then I would just edit after work. And then every other weekend when I was off, that's when me and Josh started shooting. Like, I was going outside, I was terrified. And I was like, you know, I remember I said, I think this could be a job. Like, I think we could travel the world and like take pictures. Like, I think people are doing that. And I was like, would you like take my picture? We can just try. The idea, I didn't want to go outside. But I was like, let's just try. He was like, okay. Got our first camera, and we would just do that for like a few hours on Saturday. And then like the rest of the Saturdays, kind of like, so what do you want to do? So especially when people want to do things with a friend or a partner, taking pictures is not, to me, it's not fun. Like, if you ask me to take your picture, I'm giving you 2. Like, so you need to like act like that person is doing a favor for you. It's a huge favor. But then you need to be ready. So anytime we would take those pictures, right, I would try on all my clothes. I would practice all my poses. Like, I need to be as quick as possible because this is not his job right now. So I would try on my outfits. Okay, this looks good from the back. I think I'll do like a walking shot. Okay, and I think I want a close-up of the bag. And this, I know exactly how I need to move when we get out there. Try on the next outfit, pack everything up. Everything is ready so we can do what we have to do. Planning is essential, but again, there's going to be times you don't want to do it. This is my only off on Wednesday. I'm tired. I would love to just, somebody call me and go to brunch, but I also started setting those boundaries. Nikita will tell you, nobody calls me. I can't sit on the phone with you. I got stuff to do. On Wednesdays, I shoot my content. That's just what it is. I can call you after. If you text me, I probably won't respond. If you call me, I'm not going to answer. Because this is important to me. I could talk to you another day, but you have to make that the expectation. And that it's going to get done. And obviously, you're working towards something. It's not going to be forever. So you got to keep that in mind. I know it's hard, it's a sacrifice, but in my mind, I wasn't going to work both of those jobs forever. I wasn't going to be at Target and be doing this every off day forever. But I knew I needed to do it to just see. And then if I never got where I was trying to go, maybe in 2 years, I would have pivoted and done something else. But I had to just go as hard as possible for that time. Scheduling is everything. Write a schedule if you got to put it on the refrigerator. This is the day I do this, and let everybody know that it affects. If that's your kids, your husband, your sister, your cousin, these are the days I do these things now. I'm just going to try this for the next 6 months. I need you to respect this schedule that I'm trying to do. Yeah? Yes, and then we'll come here, and then we'll go that way.
Hi, my name is Eddie. I go by Psychology on Instagram and on my platform. I'm in the introvert, and I'm really struggling with just storytelling. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I actually have a big beauty cosmetics brand, and I'm struggling with storytelling, building my brand, and just capturing people's attention because I realize that it's by storytelling that you can actually capture people. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I realized that is that I don't have that, will I say, talent of storytelling. So how do I, talking for a long time, that really scares me a lot. So what are the tips that you can give to me that would help me, build my brand? Storytelling and...
When you say storytelling, what platform? What are we talking about?
I would say I'm struggling with YouTube right now.
Okay. YouTube is hard, and it's a lot of effort. The biggest thing that helps me, I'm also an introvert. I know it's surprising to people. Most people that do this job are introverts. It's very easy to talk to yourself. Listen, you've got to practice. It takes practice to be natural and make sure you project and make sure you look alive. But it's still a lot easier than doing this. But I always tell people I have to turn it on. And that's why I usually only do one YouTube video a day. I can't batch it because I have to put up so much effort for it to look just regular to you and the camera. Something I always do is I make sure I write an outline and I'm prepared. because I feel like there's too many things going on in your brain when you're trying to think of what you want to say, you're trying to make sure you're sitting right, you're trying to make sure the camera looks good, the lighting is right, and then if you have no plan, that's when you get all over the place, which is then just going to make it harder for you to edit the video. So I make sure I plan every video. I write an outline of exactly what I want to say, even if I don't go off of it. It's something where I can just pause and kind of like regroup, look at my paper and be like, okay, this part is coming up, let's do that. You got to practice storytelling, and you have to be prepared to tell the story. Like, what is your goal for the video? What's the thing for the video? Give me an example of like a video, just like beauty, like just doing your makeup.
Yeah, I do more of like beauty and fashion content. So my niche is lifestyle, everything is pretty much. But I'm more involved in like beauty and fashion because I do kind of present brand also. But yeah, I struggle with like telling stories. So sometimes I see myself, I think of myself telling stories about how my love for beauty and how it started.
I also think it needs to be a natural thing. So I know just because something is working for somebody else doesn't mean it's your thing. If you're not a natural storyteller, like some people are really good at that. Like when I do my makeup, I cannot talk. Right. Some people can do it and you're like, I'm so enthralled. I'm watching you and I'm listening and this is so engaging. I cannot, anytime I do a makeup video, it's gonna be a voiceover. Because I can't, or it's like gonna be so chopped up, there's like the story, you probably lost the plot. Maybe that's not your thing, but can it come from an educational standpoint? If you have a brand, can you help? You can still be helpful and serve people without, that's almost like entertainment. You don't have that's not for everybody and it doesn't have to be your thing either. So I would still say practice, but if it doesn't come naturally, like how long are you gonna kind of like beat a dead horse instead of just figuring out what comes natural to you that you enjoy? Because that is gonna be one of the biggest components of longevity. You have to get some joy out of this. Anytime I'm struggling with something, I'm like, okay, how do I make this fun for me again? Because I'm always from that like, okay, serving, helpful, like, do people want to see this? But then if I don't feel like doing it, when I get to a point where I'm like, I don't want to make a YouTube video this week, and then it's like another week, and I'm like, I still don't want to make a YouTube video. What type of video do I need to make that's going to be fun for me? That I'm going to enjoy the whole process? Why don't I want to edit this video? Because I'm not into it. So what do I need to do? The same thing with pictures. What type of images do we need to take that get me excited and kind of get my creative juices flowing? What type of TikToks do I need to make? Think about that too. Because you won't be able to do it forever if you're like dreading it and pretending to be this person that doesn't come naturally to you. All right, there was someone.
Hi, my name is Maymona. I'm from Niagara South. My question is, there's so many social media outlets right now. There's Instagram, YouTube, we have TikTok. I don't know what's coming next. But I don't have a huge following and I'm struggling. I've been doing it for a long time, struggling to grow on all of them. So what would your advice be in focusing on one right now? Which one would you say?
I love this question. I feel like some of you already know what I'm going to say. You need to focus on the one you're good at. You need to focus on the one you have the capacity for. You need to focus on the one you're passionate about. There is no answer for everyone in this room. Are you really passionate about taking pictures? Are you good at taking pictures? You create amazing images? You should focus on Instagram. Because you can create a strategy around that to grow. Shouldn't be focused on everything at once. Are you really personable and really engaging and good at storytelling? Then you should probably be doing video content, which could still be on Instagram. Maybe you do all reels and you just make sure you have good cover photos, which can be, a flat lay, a flower wall, whatever it is. But maybe you just go hard on video content, or you take that over to TikTok. Are you really good at editing and you have time to edit YouTube videos? Then you should be on YouTube. It should be what you have the capacity for. When I started, all I did was Instagram. And all I had the capacity for was take my picture in a mirror. That's all you got for a year. That was what my whole page was. Yeah.
Thank you. But I get so discouraged by Instagram because it's so hard to grow on there right now. So I'm like, I do the content, but then about 3 months down, I'm like, what is it for? There's no, return or value on it. That's where
Here's what I'll say. And when people say it's hard to grow, yes, it is harder than it used to be. But I still grow on Instagram. And I know a lot of people that still grow on Instagram. But you have to, Instagram is the best place where you can make a strategy and it actually will work. Like TikTok, it's up to the heavens, I don't know. It's by fluke, a lot of things. But Instagram is a very calculated app. Like if you do the things they want you to do and you make good content and you take feedback well and you are constantly elevating and improving, it takes effort. It does, a lot of effort. But you can grow. Again, anytime I go back to what my audience wants, then, I post that type of content and people are sharing me, I grow like crazy. And anytime I'm not growing, it's a direct reflection of me. Every time. There have been months, usually once a year, there's a month where I'm just losing followers. And because you lose followers all the time, but I'm not growing, so I can see me losing followers. And it's a time where I'm not really taking a lot of pictures, and I'm just reposting old pictures. I'm not really saying much in my captions, because I just don't feel like talking that much. So it's just like, happy Monday, love the weather, talking to nobody, just talking into a void. It's all ways where I'm like, okay, let's pull it back together and do our job here and get back on track. So I would say, what can you be doing differently? One, you need to assess if Instagram is your platform. Is that where you want to be? Because again, it's not making you happy. You're also not going to even be able to create the strategy to be passionate enough to kind of drive it home. But you also have to do the work and do the research. Find a person that is killing it, that is doing what you're doing. Because none of us are reinventing the wheel. There is somebody that is growing leaps and bounds, like authentically, in real time, that you can see what are they doing. That's always my goal, like finding someone that's doing exactly what I'm doing. That doesn't mean you have to copy, but there's clearly a path, a roadmap that's working for other people. So you need to assess, where am I going wrong? It doesn't mean your content is bad or wrong, but it may not be serving you on that platform. Feel free to DM me. I'll take a look. It might be harsh, but I'll give you a
Hi, my name is Kalechi. I go by Auntie Kalechi on social media. My content is very specific in the sense that I share Black-owned brands nationally and globally. That's money in that, but don't tell my husband. And so, but in the last year and a half, I've been going through another journey, and I've entered another community that I didn't know existed, especially for women of color. I didn't know that we were all kind of going through that similar struggle. And in that, I've learned so much, and there are people that don't know certain things, but my Instagram isn't tailored to that. It is tailored to Black women buying Black products, but it's not tailored to that Black content, that part of our lives. And so my husband was like, well, you said that last year. Jenee was like, well, share the stuff that you don't want to share on Instagram on your YouTube. But I'm scared because I got famous on YouTube for doing comedy about being Nigerian, like making fun of my parents' accents and stuff like that. And so I kind of stepped back from that YouTube scene. And so he was like, well, why don't you just pivot the YouTube and your blog to talk about kind of that journey that we're on and all of that stuff. So my question is then, how do I promote it on my Instagram to get people to go to my YouTube and my blog to see that? Because it's like, this is part of my life, but I still want to tell y'all about these clothes that I got.
And that's okay. I would share, you can make it a focus on YouTube, right? Because it's your channel to do whatever you want with. So if you're a different person than you were last week, that's just what it is. People that want to watch will watch, and people that want to leave will leave, and then you'll find new people. But I would trickle it in. Especially if you're just going to be promoting. Start with that. Then that means once a week, you do a post. If I'm still giving you all the other days of the week of the other stuff, you need to be okay with that. Right? You can think of it the same way as an ad. If this is the day that I need to post an ad and I gave you 6 days of the other type of content you came here for, I think that's perfectly fine. But I think explaining the why behind it, maybe explaining the journey, being transparent. You're a person. We can all relate to, I started learning about this new thing. I'm super passionate about X, Y, and Z. I love sharing just my love of Blackness with my community. So you're going to start seeing X, Y, and Z. Maybe you do a live to go even more in depth. Just get people's buy-in. You just have to be intentional about it. But I would say do it. Because it's you're just holding yourself back from what it could be. Thank you. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a good one. It's probably an easy one.
Oh, you have one.
Can you share a little bit? Oh, hi, I'm Carly, by the way. I'm under the Carly Chic on Instagram. Can you tell me a little bit about your schedule for content creation? When you first came on, I know you were working for Target still, and you came to speak with us.
And you had this schedule where you would work, 5 days a week, and then you had, I think it was like Wednesdays and Sundays, and you would create kind of all your content there. Now that there's TikTok and you spread so much on YouTube as well with your membership that you have, can you tell us a little bit more about your schedule for content creation?
For now?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's, I don't want to say easier, but it is easier. I have every day. But I still work every day. So on Mondays is our admin day. So Maya comes over and we I like to plan as much as I can. So we would typically plan like the newsletter for the week, everything that I want to be in there, what's the focus, what's the theme. We'll have a call with my agency, and then we go over any campaigns I need to shoot that week. So paid campaigns. So, what's the campaign? Where do I want to shoot it? Like write an outline or a shot list, depending on if it's a video or pictures, down to everything. What I want to wear, where we're going to shoot it, as detailed as we can be. And she'll kind of put that in an app for us. Any analytics, like literally anything admin. Respond to all emails if we need to do anything, like to know it. Am I missing anything? What else do we do?
Blog, strategy.
Yeah, if there's a video I want to film, we'll write a concept for that. All admin stuff on Mondays. Tuesdays, I always film. And that's just, does it have to be Tuesdays? No, that's just a day I picked when I started, and now that's what it is. So Tuesdays, I'll usually do a YouTube video. I do all my TikToks. I batch my TikToks. Batching doesn't mean it's fake. These are my clothes. I'm gonna wear them eventually. So I feel like we gotta work smarter, not harder. Like, do you get dressed every day? Well, yes. But is this from last week? Yes. Because I need to do it when I have the mental space for it. So on Tuesdays, I'll do, 3 or 4 TikToks of just me getting dressed. And then anything else I kind of have ideas about. And then Wednesdays, I typically will always edit my YouTube videos. And it's kind of like I always say it's my off day. But me sitting and editing is very relaxed. I can just be in my pajamas all day. And that feels like an off day. And then Thursday, I'll film anything I didn't get to. So if I didn't get to TikToks, or if there's a random campaign, we'll shoot it that day. And Fridays is another admin day, kind of wrap it up. Maya comes back over, we send in anything for any brands, and just kind of like finish up the week, send out the newsletter, just do all the admin stuff. And then on weekends, I still shoot because I just cannot get that. I'm just so used to it. We could be shooting during the week, I don't know. But it's also like, I'm dressed, so then we can do stuff after. That's how I look at it. I'm like, oh, we can shoot, and then I'll be cute. And then we can, go out to dinner, or we can do whatever. But also shooting for us feels less like work. We're pretty fast at it now, so it's like, it'll be an hour, maybe 2 hours. So that's kind of my schedule. I am adding back in the blog. That's just something I'm trying to get more passionate about. And it's kind of a focus for where I'm trying to take my brand. I want to have the opportunity to kind of brand myself as more of a fashion expert. So I want to start having another place for my thoughts to live. So I kind of want to get back to my blog. So that'll be something I probably do on Wednesdays as well. Because again, I can just sit in my bed and look ugly and just talk about fashion. So it's about what you have the capacity for. But don't be afraid to batch as much as you need to. If you need to do it all in one day, that doesn't mean you're not being real or you're not being authentic. I feel like a lot of people get hung up on that. And they're like, do you go everywhere looking like this? Well, yes, I do. It's still, 2 things can be true at the same time. So that's my current schedule. Who has the mic? Okay.
Hi.
We'll come back.
Hi, everyone. My name is Imani Levine on Instagram and everywhere else. But, so we love Kensington Gray. Everybody is following along with them. We're so excited for everything and all the girls that they're signing and, people in general. When did you know it was the right time to have a manager or an agency?
This was August of 2019, so I left Target in May. But I always knew Jenee, so that's who founded Kensington and Gray. When I started the mirror pictures, I remember she DM'd me. She's like, oh my God, you're so fly. Like, if you ever need any help with brands, let me know. Like, I work I don't even remember what she did, but she just had a lot of experience. She was like, if you ever need help negotiating, just let me know. So, of course, when my first brand DM'd me, I'm like, oh my God, what should I charge? And she just helped me all the time. I would send her the emails, she would send me back all the rates, and I'd be like, girl, you crazy? But that's how it started. She did that for a long time. I guess, 2017 is when I kind of started on Instagram. So she did that for 2 years, where I would just DM her and be like, what do you think about this? She started a Facebook group. I was in that. She was just super helpful. So then in August, once I quit, I think I got to 80,000 followers. And it was starting to get to a place where I was stressed out. I never liked admin things. even at Target. So whoever you are now is exactly who you're gonna be when you work for yourself. So I was just getting very anxious, trying to like negotiate and stick to my schedule, right? Like today I'm supposed to film, and I can't focus on like I don't want to be in charge of this. So I reached out to her and I was like, what do you think is a good place to be at for management? Like, should I wait till I'm at 100,000? Like, what do people typically do? I don't know. And she was like, well, actually, me and my husband are going to start an agency. I'd love to have a call. Like, I know you don't know him, but like, can we get on a call and kind of tell you about it? That is, when I tell you the stars align, because I don't know if I would have trusted a stranger with my money and my livelihood and just someone representing me. Like, at the end of the day, I'm still very much a business person. And that's a lot of faith to put into someone else, to like represent you, talk on your behalf, and then see all the money you get and go back and forth. They're in charge of everything. But that was kind of, once it got to a place where I felt like I couldn't do both well. I couldn't be creative and just enjoy the process and do my job. And I just felt like I wasn't good at the other stuff. Like, I'm good at speaking and representing myself, but I don't know if I'm the best negotiator. I don't know if I'm I don't enjoy this. And I always say, let things go if you're not killing it. Certain people do, some people have editors because they don't enjoy it or they're not good at it or whatever it is. Certain things you just have to get off your plate. For me, I was like, I don't want to own this. I don't want to pitch. I would write down pitching every day in my schedule. I'm going to pitch tomorrow. Tomorrow would come and like, maybe the next day. And I was like, this can't be good for my business. Find somebody else to do it. So that's what made me get to a point where like, I need to find somebody to help me. But also, keep in mind, because I feel like I just had this conversation with somebody back there. Don't be too quick to get management. I have a lot of peers who still manage themselves because you need to have enough money coming in that you want to give this group of people a cut of it. And their job is not to just find you work. Their job is to manage the work coming in. Are they going to pitch you? Yes, they pitch me all the time. But I would say 80% of the money I make is incoming. And it has to make sense for them because they're only getting, even though it's a cut, it's still not a huge cut for a team to work on a thing. Like this isn't just them. They have employees to pay, so if I'm making $500 on something and they get 20% of that, is that worth them spending all day on the phone and emailing back and forth and pitching? Not really. So think about that. I feel like sometimes it's just like, I want to do this thing, so I should get management to like help me get there. You kind of already have to have some steady income for it to make sense to somebody who's not trying to scam you. Like a legit agency that is going to work on your behalf and take you to the next level. You kind of got to have some stuff coming in.
I think we've got time for about 2 more questions.
Oh, the pressure.
Hi, I'm Capricia. My Instagram is just totally tripping, and I create a lot of travel content, and I'm trying to pivot to fashion now. As a fellow Sagittarius, my question is, I love doing things that make me happy, but I also love doing things that make me money. At what point did you feel like you should be getting paid for your content? Like, how many followers did you have? Like, how often were you pitching?
I always say, especially if brands are reaching out to you and it's like, oh, we can give you something, we can da-da-da-da. I'm fine with doing something so that I can have a proof of concept, right? So I want to get into, when we started doing lifestyle content, I wanted to get some free furniture. But also, I know that if you go to my page, there's nothing on my page that tells you I can make lifestyle content. So let me do that for free. Let me, whatever I have, let me make a moment of it. Let me tag the brand, and make a blog post. Let me put a like to know it up, show you I can sell it. Now, when you come to me, we don't need a proof that this thing can happen or it can work. I do this. Here's an example of exactly what I can do for you. Anytime I'm going into something new, that's what I try to do. I have a few. We wanted to work with a car brand. We took out our own car. We did a whole reel, did like a bunch of, that was an effort to have proof. Because when you pitch me, I'm not going back and forth about what the price is. Because I want to show you that I'm worth the price. This is why I charge what I charge, because this is what I'm capable of doing, and here's the example. So I think if you have that under your belt, then you should, and it's good, then you should start asking for money. But sometimes I'll work with the brand to get the practice. Because there's nothing worse than working with the brand and not feeling prepared and somebody's paying you. It is very stressful. Like, I remember my first time I did something with Pantene. That was my first ever brand deal. And I had never shot something like it was a campaign. And that's very different than shooting an outfit, but then shooting something that needs to be sold. And I just felt like I was all in my head. It was not enjoyable because I was so stressed, and all I could think about was that these people are paying me. This is a whole job, and I don't know really what I'm doing. Even though we take cute pictures, I've never taken a product picture. I've never really done anything like this. So doing that to say like, oh, this will be my example. So the next time they reach out or another shampoo brand reaches out, I can say like, oh, here's all the content I can do exactly what you're asking me to do. This is the rate I charge for that.
Okay, so it was never really about the followers, it was more about just like having.
I think so, because it's also like you can not have a lot of followers, but if you make amazing content, they can use that, right? They can put it on their website, they can make a TikTok out of it and make an ad, or they can make a sponsored post on Instagram. They can still use that content. Obviously, the rates are going to change with your following. But if you make great content and you already have the clear examples of how good you are at that thing, you should be getting paid for it. It costs something. There should be a fee.
I'm Lynn, L2 lifestyler on everywhere, and I'm wondering how you manage to filter out a lot of the unsolicited advice. I'm surprised by how many people have advice about strategy, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Peers will come to you with ideas about things that you should and shouldn't do. But how do you stay focused on your strategy and your approach to blogging and or posting on social media?
In what capacity is this feedback being offered? Like, is this like friends? Is it?
It's other influencers, collaborators, peers that are doing this.
Just saying like, hey, random, but here's what you should do. I never take advice from anyone that's not where I'm trying to be. That's just what it is. So, oh, thanks, that's a good tip, but I'm really working on X, Y, and Z.